going to do a deep dive into this capability with our CTO. Ysrael, can you hear me?
Yes, can I hear you?
Okay, so Ysrael Gurt is joining us. He's our CTO at Reflectiz and co-founder, Forbes 30 Under 30, ethical hacker, and visionary of Offensive Hub. Ysrael, thanks for making the time to join us and talk about this new amazing innovation.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. It's really a pleasure for me to introduce this product. I really like. I'm coming from the technical part of the company, so for myself to see this kind of innovation going production is something that is very exciting. So I'm really excited to share you all with what we built here. And yes, Jan and Maayan, we can start.
Very cool. All right, so we'll start with a short introduction and just explain a little bit about Offensive Hub, but I want you to kind of bring us into the story of the product, of your vision, and then I'll go deeper into technical questions.
You want to?
Yes. Why don't you do us a better introduction of thinking when your thinking process when coming to handle this challenge in offensive security, and then we'll go deeper maybe into specific features and technicalities.
Yeah. So a few years ago, when we started to build the product for Reflectiz, both myself and my co-founder Idan came from the pentest testing world, and we know that we will want to build something around penetration testing. We know that we can do it because this is what we have doing for many years. But until the agentic solutions come to the world, it was impossible because a lot of thinking and decisions supposed to be made along the way. We can build kind of easily a system that will try to shoot multiple payloads over everything. Like everybody knows that there was a lot of tools like that before. The real hacker has something more than just sending payloads. A real hacker, really human hacker, is actually using his experience and what he sees to understand, to make some kind of leap above, to understand what's supposed to be next. So, for example, I had in the past, I found an XSS in Gmail, and the XSS came from seeing multiple parameters within the URL of Gmail, and one of them was looking a little bit suspicious to me because it was a view, and I saw something. I was thinking maybe an embedded file sent from Android. It's possible to be shown here with a little bit different in the parameter. So I tested it and I found a real XSS in Gmail back then. And the reason I came to that is because I have the knowledge, I have the experience, I have the kind of feeling of thinking, maybe I can do it here, and then try back and forth, to find the vulnerability here. So we know that we want to build something like that, but we know that we need a little bit more than what was possible in the past. Once we came to the agentic world, we decided we want to build it, and we also decided took another decision. We want to build it for web only, because specifically for web, it's the biggest threat on the company, because as a security team, we always trying to hide everything behind our walls. We putting a firewall, we put some protections, only specific access and everything, because everything's supposed to be behind the wall. We don't want anybody to see databases, internal apps, internal computers, whatever. If there is something available to the outside, we try to hide it. The only place in the company where we actually want to expose our servers and we intentionally open it to the world is web apps, no applications. We're opening it to the world the web application because this is what we want it to be. We want everybody to go to our website, not to go from our website and not to see it.
Yeah.
And a website is also a very, very complicated application that entirely exposes it to the outside. There is nothing internal beside the API. You have a very large application that intentionally exposes it to the outside with the possibility that in every single layer there might be something that's missing. And even one thing that's missing can be the headline for the hacker to go to your website. So it's not just we can't just look from the outside and see if this port is open or not. Yes, it's open intentionally. Now you have 10,000 components or 15,000 internal developments, small developments, and code files that is open to the outside, and every single problem in each one of them can be the attacker front door. So in 2020, we started to work with GPT. We got access to GPT-3 in 2022, in the midst of 2022, just a few months before ChatGPT was released. And we saw there is something here. We saw there is something more than just the old if loops that can decide if something is good or not. It starts to be a little bit more smart, but not yet something that we can use for autonomously AI testing. It just was enrichment of the existing product. And then we started to release within Reflectiz AI improvement products. In 2024, we started to use the reasoning for AI agents. And this reasoning started to change how we are working with AI. It was no longer just asking and getting results. It was asking the AI thinking with the reasoning and then returning smarter results. In 2025 and now in 2026, it became agentic results. And let's talk a little bit about the difference between models and agents. Model is the brain behind everything in AI. You have the brain, and the brain can give you very good results. But it's like somebody that can only speak. I am going to this smart guy, asking a question. Tell me, if I have an application that is ABC, how am I supposed to hack this application? And it answers me. Some nice answer, but it can't take any action because it only can talk to me. And this is AI. AI, it's only text or even images driven. It can't act by itself. Agents can't act because we're taking this brain, and you're building a body to this brain. We're building the harness of the AI. In this harness, we're building tools. We're building a tool that, for example, to browse pages, to execute script, click. For everything that we want to do, we are building tools for that. And we're going to the brain, to the AI, and ask the AI, tell me, if I have this application, and this is the available tools that we have, how we can attack this application? So it answers, just a second, I don't know right now, reasoning. I don't know right now how to start. I need to see what application has. So browse this page and come back to me with the results. Who browsing the page? The agentic loop that I built, that Reflectiz built. So we're using the tool, browsing the page, coming back to the agent and saying, what is the result of this browsing the page? And so, okay, now I have a plan. The plan is to go to this page, this page, and here we're going to try to put malicious activity, malicious application, malicious file, or everything. And then everything that you want to create, creating by asking the agentic loop and asking the tool that we actually built, the code that we actually built, to do it for him. So we have the brain, the smart brain, the LLM machine, and we have the agentic loop. And the agentic loop is what distinguishes between one tool to the other. The way that we built the agentic loop tells us later what the LLM brain can actually do.
Okay, interesting. Is it different than how other solutions are built? I mean, we don't know yet, but But how is it different in terms of what you're explaining now about how the model works versus maybe previous versions of pen testing, versions that are now in the market, like automatic PT or something like that?
Yeah. So there is a big distinguish between automated PT old solutions to agentic solutions. All the automated PT solutions are just throwing a lot of payloads on everything that is found, and then using a pre-written code to say, okay, this is not successful results, let's try another one. If this is not successful results, let's try another one. But there is no thinking behind that. If you get a result that's saying this column is not exist, but this column is exist, if you're talking about GraphQL, for example, the tool is not smart. It can't actually process the result and say, okay, so if you are saying this column is not exist, but the other one is exist, maybe for the same naming convention, I can go to identity column and maybe I can pull here personal information about the customer. Maybe if I have this JavaScript in this page and I don't have any payload related to that, but I have this JavaScript, and this JavaScript tells me something about how this application might be built. A lot of time for myself as a hacker, I can see stuff in one page and said, okay, so now I understand the thinking, the way of thinking of this developer. If this developer in this page added, I give you one example. I found in the past a customer that has a URL, API URL, that say login with username and password. So I said, okay, maybe I can look for another similar naming API, login with username and OTP, and it would exist. And then I found that on this OTP, because it wasn't on production, I can put any number I want and bypass login because it was still not on production. This URL wasn't existing anywhere in the website. My thinking allowed me to say, maybe I can find that one. Old solution that was only shooting payloads and trying to process the results can't think the extra mile, can't think behind that and say, okay, I will try to do that, I will try to do that. If you're using an agentic solution and you can read the reasoning that what it gives you, but what it gives back, you see very, very smart reasoning. We sometimes I'm saying, okay, you know what? That's a smart one. When reading the reasoning of the model, that's a smart one. I didn't think, expecting the model to do that. I didn't even think about doing it. That's a nice one.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe up until now, these solutions could have been good enough, right? But now with AI changing the way that attackers can approach your website, it's really not enough anymore, right? That's where we see the urgency in a solution like this.
Yes, in the past we were saying we need to have good enough protection so the average or even the smart hacker can't hack us. And then everybody knows that at the end, if a government wants to attack your website specifically, I don't want to give names for that, but you know who I'm talking about. They're probably going to succeed somehow. But this was only gov-baked attacks. And we never tried to protect ourselves from that because it was almost impossible. Today, with open models, open weight models that don't have any limitation, and as everybody knows, for example, Kimi K3, it's almost identical to the level of Mythos, and everybody can run it on their own servers or running on their or on some less restrictive infrastructure. You can have enterprise level or even government level attacks on your website from basically everybody. So if in the past we want to have 95% protection, 99% protection, 99.49 protection, now we need 100% protection from one side. And from the other side, we also need to progress because nobody can want to stop and say, okay, this is not secure, I want to stop all my progress of my company. Everybody on the company demands, and rightfully, agentic code writing. Everybody writing code today 10 times faster, even 100 times faster. So a lot more code, a lot more features building in very, very short time versus much sophisticated attack tools. We need 100% protection for a lot more build. Only AI can win that. We can't keep like in the past to have the old stupid solutions. I don't want to call it stupid, but yes, it's not smart. Okay, not stupid, but not smart. We need also
the way I like to
for
see
smart
it.
problems.
The way I like to explain it is, if in the past you needed someone like Ysrael Gurt to, he was the only one able to penetrate your site. Now any kid with Claude code that can run, just run payloads and just optimize his code for a few weeks can probably get it done.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna jump forward because I want to get to the juicy stuff, because I think everyone knows that Agentic's penetration test is here to stay. It's trending like crazy. I want you to kind of explain our secret sauce, what Reflectiz brings to this landscape, and how we differentiate our solution with your kind of thinking and expertise and experience.
So in Reflectiz, we decided we want to build only, as I said before, only web solution, because it's very different. There is a lot of difference between web solutions, web attacks to other attacks. When I'm talking about attacking a machine that is not web machine, I'm trying to go to the port to see if it's open, see if there is known CVEs, any malicious activity I can do on that, maybe putting some null byte payload or whatever it's happening. There is a lot you can do. For web, the most sophisticated attacks are not just looking for another open port and looking for very, very easy attacks on that. For web, you need to understand the thinking and to actually get to the mind of who built the website. And the way you are doing it is by browsing the website and see the entire website, how it's operating and how it's working, and then try to analyze where is the injection point. So, because websites there is two sides to the website. There is the client side and the server side, and the API allow you to communicate between them. So the client side is the application that you actually see when you're surfing a website, and the server side, the API, is what you can see and what's behind the rules. We need first to map the entire website to see everything that can happen. We need to find where it's communicated with the server and then try to attack everything. So we have something we call Recon. Recon is the first agent that is actually mapping the surface. It looks, okay, there is login, there is queue menus, there is a personal data area, there is a field claim for insurance, there is a money transfer for a bank account, whatever you have. And this is Recon. It's mapping the surface and gives only information what exists. Then there is another step here that is not, because it's all over the place, it's not here on the graph. That is a planner. It gets the result from Recon, surfing the website and saying, okay, here's the plan. I want to test injection. I want to test business logic. I understand the business here. I understand what's happening here in terms of how it's supposed to work. Money needs to be transferred from me to the other, not minus money. If I want to buy something, all the business operation is understand, and then it's analyzed. Actually, the surface. So it analyzes the JavaScript, it analyzes the HTML, it analyzes the API exists, and try to do what hackers are doing in these terms. Think behind and say, okay, this API seems suspicious. This API might have PII within it. And create the attack surface of the website. And then the smart agent gets all the results and say, okay, now I want to attack. So it's starting attacking a agent that have a specific mission. You need to go to this page, try to do login with the login details, try to move money from transfer of money and report from it back. This agent need to go to the admin panel and try to log in, try to do recovery of a certain password, look if it can get a user enumeration, whatever it's like. So every attack gets an agent to try to do this attack. After everything concluding to a report, what was found, there is another completely different agent, not related, and it's in purpose, not related agent, that is validating agent. Starting from scratch, a new agent that don't know everything about what happened before, just get the findings and validating. Why? Because we want to make sure that there was something that was leaked from, I will not call it hallucinations, but something that the recon saw and so I think maybe it's something happening here, and it's survived to the findings. So everything is validating again and again in the new agent. Make sure no false positives surviving, and of course, because the planner is always working, no false negative that you can find something. So it's more easy for me to give more results, even slightly less accurate results, because a validator always stopping it from coming to the customer. And then there is a report, and this is something very important in the report. I want to talk about.
Yeah, we'll see it in a minute. Let's talk about coverage for a second, and we'll go into the demo in a minute. But I'd like you to kind of give us the perspective of why coverage. First of all, why is it so important in offensive security, and then how we approached it in Offensive Hub.
Yeah. So here's something that is important in reporting. When agentic solution doing an automated agentic solution doing the scan, it knows what it does. As a human, when I try to test something, I'm jumping between stuff. I'm only recording what I'm finding. Maybe a little bit of what I was doing in the middle. Automated agentic solution know everything that is done. And something is very important in agentic solutions. If I take an agent that an agent can tell him, go over the website and look for whatever you can find. It will find. It will find very nice stuff. But every single time it will find very other nice stuff. If you run Cloud Code and asking for testing your website for 5 times, you will find 5 reports. Not necessarily the same report for everything. This is important because it always looking for what it looks like. Okay, here maybe it's something important. Here it's investing half an hour looking specifically at this API, while not looking at something else that is might be as important as it is. So a lot of work for Reflectiz was when we built the agentic loop was remove decision capabilities from the agentic and moving to the deterministic code. And the deterministic code ensuring 100% coverage. So once page is discovering, we can discover a page, and we're discovering the API points getting from this page out. Every single API point has to be tested by the agent. It can't be that the agent say, okay, I want to test only this API. Yes, if the agent can decide to put some effort in specific API, but when you try to go next and say, okay, I complete the scan, the recent code steps the agent and say, no, you haven't completed the scan because there is 5 other API points you never tested. For this specific tested also, he said, okay, I looked for half an hour and tried to look for an XSS in this specific API point, and there was no XSS. He said, yes, okay, you can't continue because you haven't tested for CMTI, you haven't tested for SSTI, you haven't tested for SSRF. There is a lot of acronyms in this word. So it's the coverage guaranteed by the system. So we built 2 systems side by side. The deterministic system that makes sure everything is tested, and the agent that decide how to test everything and what to actually do and what to attack. But the agent can't decide, I don't want to test that. I think only XSS is relevant here. No, you can think about that, but you need to prove it. You need to prove to the deterministic system what you actually tested and why you're doing it. And this is for the report, the customer can see what actually tested. The customer can see every single endpoint was tested, it said, okay, you tested heat. If the customer will see something that we missed, okay, we can fix it, everything, every time. But there is 100% guarantee for every single scan. So if we're running a daily scan or monthly scan or even yearly scan, we can know that every single time it will test everything, and everything is also presented to the customer.
Yeah. Okay, great. I actually want to go maybe into the demo and talk about it more there. So I think we'll go over there, and then I'll continue the rest of my questions there. So I'll do a short demo, and then you will bring me into if there's something that you want to go over or stop and discuss. All right. So this is an initial version of our offensive hub. We're going to start with setting up the agent. And by setting up the agent, we have built it so it's very customizable, very flexible. And you start by naming it. And then you can define all the settings according to exactly what you need. And this is a big part of what we wanted Offensive Hub to be able to do, is because it's also usage-based, you can really decide on anything that you want to test. It's really custom to your needs. So you can decide on the scope, you can decide on the frequency. Is it on demand or is it scheduled? When is it going to run? What kind of hours? And then what level of capability it's going to have. We'll get to it in a minute, Ysrael. And then, of course, any custom rules into coverage and scope, what you want to exclude, what you want to include. It's supposed to give you kind of a very granular ability to define exactly what you want to test. You can have multiple agents running at the same time, each one of them doing something differently, some looking into maybe more crucial assets, the other maybe more everyday assets. One of them can be very intense capabilities. One of them can be just a regular scanner. And that really allows you to get the coverage that you want, the scope that you want, with the exact scope and frequency. And I think that really is going to change how people use pen testing, because it kind of gives them the agency to decide exactly what they want to do, instead of just bringing it to someone else and kind of let them do all the decision making. So Ysrael, I want you to kind of talk a little bit about this part, about the intelligence capabilities, and why did you decide on these four, and what each one of them is made for specifically?
So the first stage is scanner. It's actually having kind of a non-smart scan of the website. So there is a little bit more. There is still a little bit of AI validation for findings, but most of the scan is doing only by deterministic tools that actually trying to attack with a predefined payload, everything that all the API inputs that it finds. So this is more like the old-fashioned scanners with just a little bit smart AI validation of the results. But then we're going to the more interesting and more exciting part, where we have pen tester, senior, and expert. When we are doing penetration testing of our website with humans, you can decide if you want to have the best hacker in the company that will do everything and have the maximum experience and can break basically everything. And we can have some pen tester that just doing the regular stuff. So in pen tester level, we're only getting less expensive modules that doing it, because in Reflectiz we are using a lot of modules to run. We have internal benchmark that we have about modules. Some of them are performing better in specific tasks, and some of them are performing a little bit less smart in specific tasks. But everybody knows today agents are not AI credits are not so cheap. So we are using the less expensive models for the pen testing level. But we also have less in coverage. So as I said before, we have the deterministic area where we can give the agent the ability to scan and force it to scan much more. For example, I can ask the model to scan only for the most obvious. If this is a URL, part of the URL parameter, it's probably going to be exposed to XSS and maybe SQL injection or something. But we can also give them, okay, you also need to check here also for more rare attacks. For example, in the URL, I can force him also to check for SSTI, for example, or more rare attacks. So you have the level of range that is behind this, and also you have the level of attacks and the deeper of attacks. And in expert mode, you have the frontier models, of course, but also you have the extra mile, thinking about the stuff that is not common, finding, we call it other attacks, something very, very sophisticated. For example, the model once find that a specific URL, when you go to a specific URL, it can save, if you are using a specific parameter, it can save in the session storage. I'm talking about specific finding that was actually found. In the session storage, it can find something, and then another page using this session storage. So it combined multiple attacks together to get from non-optimal JavaScript written to actually creating a stored success in the admin page. Because this is the extra thinking, extra mile of thinking, extra efforts. For example, we are not limiting the amount of effort it puts for thinking and testing and everything. So expert is basically saying you have the best hacker you can hire, do it only for sensitive areas of the website, not every day. But this is if you are, for example, the login page, to do monthly or quarterly scan with experts is very, very smart. But doing everyday experts kind of the entire website is just expensive. We're not doing it mostly. So we basically said do the pentester weekly and just go smarter for whatever you need once you have something much more sensitive.
Yeah. Ysrael, I want to go back to what we talked about before and how we are offering a platform of security solutions, and Offensive Hub is just the latest one. But can you maybe elaborate on how our web discovery scanning abilities are kind of leveraging, how are they powering Offensive Hub in ways that maybe companies who are not experienced in web can do, and how it changes our pen testing capabilities? Maybe give an example as well.
So when you want to build a agentic solution for hacking and in general, most of the times companies building an agentic solution like Cloud Code, or it looks like Cloud Code or something like that, that's actually writing code, trying to craft some attacks, run a browser maybe or something. In Reflectiz, we decided we are going to a different way. We didn't want to try to build agents that writing code and try to attack everything, because this is great, by the way, for non-web attacks, something that you need to write new tools, maybe use the knowledge that you have. But hackers are not doing that. This is not how our human hacker doing it in the real world. When I, as a hacker, trying to hack a website, I'm not trying to write code to get the HTML and then try to parse it and then maybe open a specific headless browser for a specific mission. I'm not doing it at all. I'm opening the browser, opening a proxy tool, most of the time Gurt. This is the most common tool that you're using it. Seeing all the requests, going to the website with real general purpose browser, going through the website, looking behind the scene to see what actually sent in the request and responses on the web, on the actual request and responses from the proxy, and then try to find, maybe I try to reply this request, maybe I try to do that, maybe I go there, maybe I click here, maybe I try to read JavaScript and generate another request. This is a completely different story. You are not trying to attack one website as a game, as a CTS. We are trying to actually find everything in a website like a human that's really doing surfing the website will see. You have much more to scan, of course, but not just you have much more to scan, you have much more complexity here, because you need to surf a website, something that is very complicated. You need to do login, for example. And to do login today with secure website, you need to put OTP, one-time password. It can be something coming from a text message. It can be something coming from an email. It can be something calculated by it can be every kind of passkey. It can be everything. You need to build that before even thinking about any attacks. You need to build it just to go to the website. In Reflectiz, we spent the last few years, building these specific capabilities. We have today great scanner that can go to a website with a browser like a human and do everything on the website. This is exactly what you need to do if you want successfully to hack a website. So in Reflectiz, we're using the same tool, we're using the same capabilities we already built. We just added the kind of proxy behind the scene that we already have this, but we fine-tune it for the agent, and then building the agent with the tools that we already have and prove it for 6 years now that these tools are actually working and can do everything on a website, because this is what we were doing for the last 6 years. And just adding the agentic attacker to that, it's very easy today. Not very easy, but it's more easily today. Built from the ground up, everything is complicated. And for that reason, most of the companies are not doing web browser or going to a website with a proxy. They're doing other approach, giving the agent the ability to write code and using internal Linux tools like crawl and everything. And it's working less for complicated websites, working less for this complicated solution environment today.
See. Great. Okay, good. This is good stuff. All right. So this is setting up the agent. Of course, it's credit-based, so every different definition is going to change the amount of credits used by this agent and consumed by this agent. And here it's the dashboard where you see all the agents that you've built and every run that that agent has performed, the coverage, the credits used, and the last runs that it's done. Now, if we go into specific runs, and this is where I want you to weigh in, this is basically where we see the results of the run. So what the agent actually did, what the findings were on each and every specific application page, API.
Yeah. So basically, what you can see here, by the way, this is the Reflectiz own website. On the test website, so don't worry, this is not something that you will find in regular websites. But you can see here that we tested. So in the left side, you can see what we actually tested. You can see that we not missed something, or if we missed, you can tell us. But this is where you can see what we actually tested. And if you go here to the right side, you can see what we actually look for. And every time you see a check mark, it say, okay, we tested it, and this is clean. We tried to attack it, and remember, we have the deterministic area of the site that forces it to test everything. So this SQL injection, XSS, reflected, course, everything here was tested. You can see what test. You can see on the right side. You can see if you're looking at, you can see what we actually tried here to find. This is the findings that you find, and you can see the payload that was sent. Everything is here. So we not just saying you, yes, we found 2 stuff. We're telling you find 2 stuff, but we're looking for other 2,000 stuff, and this is clean. You can rest assured that this is something that is not vulnerable right now. So you can see all.
No, I just want to give an insight from customers that they say, and I've said it before, and even if you're using pen testers that are very, very experienced, like you said, you can have the most expert senior one that finds everything. I think that he still has to prioritize. He still has time constraints, budget constraints. He still has to prioritize what he's going to look at, what he can't get to. And this, when you have just a check of everything was tested and you can see, everything that was clean, everything that wasn't, but you can have the validation of everything that was tested. I think this is a big change, especially when we hear from customers that they have such a huge backlog, everything that they need tested, because it's just impossible to get to everything.
One of the most important things about machines that doing everything, and even an LLM, it's basically a machine. Machine can't be tired. Machine can detect, can say, okay, I don't want to do that. It can in the reasoning, but once you have the deterministic loop here also, it can say, okay, I don't want to check for course. It is boring. Nobody wants to information disclosure. Nobody wants a missing header. This is not something smart. I want to do only SQL injection and RC. This is where the good stuff here. Machines are not doing it.
Yeah.
Machine checking for everything, for every single URL, every single injection point, and you are using it to make sure that your machine might be say, okay, I'm bored, I don't want to do that, but somebody else's machine will do it, and then it can find a way into your website. So for that reason, we make sure that everything was tested, 100% coverage and 100% checking.
Yeah. Now, sorry, there's a small delay. Ysrael, so I think even though Agentic PT is very trending, and I think everyone understands that this is the future, this is the present and the future, I think there's still a lot of concern around security and around people, I think, just they have the confidence in Agentic, but they still lack kind of trust into what it can do to their assets.
Yeah.
Can you talk about our approach to guardrails and validation and how safe our solution is?
Yeah. So everybody saw in the last story from OpenAI versus Hugging Face what they've done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because once you give LLM a mission, it has the willing, I don't know how to say it for AI, for machine, but it has the willing to fulfill this mission by any cost. Nobody care. It not care about what he's doing and how harmful he's doing it on the midst of the way. It's trying to find to solve the problem it gets, even if it means that it needs to hack to another company just to get it. And this is a problem when you have a tool that writing code by itself and trying to do everything by itself. It's a big problem because this code can be malicious. It can decide to hack something that it's not supposed to be. And the only way to mitigate it is actually reading the actual code that's written by this attacker, by this AI attacker. A lot of times you can't do that because AI even bypass the guardrails.
Yeah.
For that reason, when we have what we build, it's a little bit different. We are not trying to create a tool that will write code that will try to hack everything. We built something like a human, and a human is not, I was doing it is sending payloads by specific ways. So you have the proxy, you have the reply, and then you are trying to inject your payload in specific places. There is template, I will call it, what it's doing. Yes, there is smart thinking behind what they will send here, what they will send there. But there is a template how we're sending it. And in Reflectiz, because of the deterministic tool that we built, we put in on the actual sending, because remember, the LLM can only think and tell you what to do. The tools are actually doing the actual attack and actually sending the payload. We are the tools, and the tools was built a specific way, sending specific requests, getting specific response. We are sitting there in the last point of before exiting, and we have the guardrails. And these guardrails are not allowing detecting if this attack can do something harmful, and it detects just before sending it and blocks that attack. So, by the way, you can be defined. You can say, I'm working on a staging environment. Do whatever you like.
Yeah.
Do our multi-code execution, drop database, whatever you like, you can do it. And if you're allowing it, we are doing it. But you can configure what level of attacks you want. Very safe, a little bit risky, most risky, everything, do whatever you like. And the guardrails, because we are sitting on the layer between the sending, the machine that sent, to the actual sending of the code, because we are the tools, it's impossible for the agent to bypass us. It can't just write code that will bypass the entire machine and will write it from a different way. It can't, because this is not how we built the agent. And because we built the agent as a browser, behind the browser at the end can block everything. So for that reason, Reflectiz browser is what we have. The browser that we already built, remember, for the security hub of Reflectiz. And this browser is what actually sending the payload. So because we are sitting there, it's impossible for the agent to bypass us.
Okay, great. All right, so we're coming into the last talking point that we have, and if anyone wants, please write your questions. We'll try to get to them by the end of the session. So, like I said, Offensive Hub is the latest solution within the Reflectiz platform. And I want you to talk about how now that it's, I think we kind of talked about it and we planned it and we waited for it to release, and now we think there's a more holistic approach to web security than ever before at Reflectiz. So how do you see Offensive Hub kind of completing the vision that you and Idan had when you first started with the rest of the hubs that we have, like security and privacy?
So the reason myself and Idan started the company in this area, because we understand, as I said before, that the web is the most risky part of the company. Everything else can be behind huge walls, so much less attack surface is open. Web is open for everything, and by it's intentionally open to everything. So you can you have the third parties that you're putting on your website, and this is great, by the way, that you have third parties, because this is the way to improve. You have the cookies that you're using and all the trackers that you're using. This is a great way to improve your site.
To optimize the site.
Yeah, and you have all the code that's written. Everything is very good that you have it. You just need to have the security behind that. In Reflectiz, our mission is to give you the 100% ability to run fast on the web, not to be lagged, not to be kept behind, not to be blocked by security requirements that you have to fulfill. You have to fulfill it. We want to enable you the ability to use everything easily. So you have the security hub that's checking the web security and the vendor. And today with AI power, we give you much more accurate result and much better solution to that. You have the privacy hub that's checking your website and making sure that you're complying with the privacy requirements today. And you have the offensive hub that today keeps you secured in the AI pace. Because in the AI world today, you want to release every single day a new version, because your developers doing so fast with AI. You want them give them the ability to release fast. With offensive, you have this ability. So with this full picture together, you can have modern website with great developments and great new developments, but still keeping yourself 100% secured.
Yeah, exactly. What I like about this approach is what you said is it's not about limiting everything that you bring on to your website. You need all these tools. You want to optimize revenue. You want to analyze the site. You want your users to have the best user experience. But they all mean more code into the site that you want to look into. So it's not about limiting the site. It's about letting it develop as fast and as the best way that possible, and without increasing any risk. All right.
I can see a question here from Chris. Yeah. So Chris, you asked if you require the domain ownership verification. Yes, for sure. Today you also doing. By the way, for work with Reflectiz solution, offensive solution, we are creating a site in the system. This is a site that can be for a security hub, for privacy hub, and also for offensive hub. Sometimes we're creating a new hub, a new site, for example, staging site specifically for testing, but you can use your own site, production site that we are scanning right now. So yes, we need the domain ownership verification for sure. the higher intelligent level can cause damage. Look, we haven't built an offensive hub for CTF, for capture the flag. We don't care about it. We are not playing games. We are working with actual solutions. We're not trying to play games. In capture the flag, a lot of times you need to require to be run the remote code execution, take ownership of the website, upload the malicious code, whatever you're doing. This is not what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to achieve here a tool that will help you find vulnerabilities before the bad guys do it. Once we find vulnerability, we're not trying to do 100% takeover of the website just to prove you, yes, we're great, we can do it. Because this is not the intention here. Once we find a vulnerability, we report it to you. So intentionally, in every intelligent level, we are not putting any actually malicious payloads, because this is what we care, not what we care about. We putting only payloads that proves to us and to you, to the customer, that you actually have something vulnerable in your website that you need to fix it. Can it do something harmful to the website? Sometimes. If it's for example, try to recover information from internal machine to look for a SSRF, it might be that it will issue something, some payload that will get, I don't know, internal information you don't want to expose or something. For that reason, we have the security level. If you're using the safe mode of the system, no, it's impossible for it to do it. If you are working on a staging environment and you want us to also have the little bit more riskier payloads, yes, it can sometimes do limited damage, and for that reason we have the guardrails. But we will never do something for example, I said before a drop database. We don't have it on the payload. This is not something that the agent will ever do, because we're not trying to draw databases. To prove that SQL injection is working, we can give you back the version. We don't need to drop the database just for that.
Good, amazing. So we're right on time, amazing. All right, I think we'll leave it here, right? Thank you everyone for joining. I hope that we got you excited about this product like we are excited. Ysrael, thank you for making the time. I know you were very, very busy.
Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for hosting. All
right, so thanks everyone. Have a great rest of the day. I think we'll be reaching out to everyone who participated with a link to the recorded session. So thank you so much for everyone sending their thank you and regards. All right, have a good day. Thank you everyone.
Thanks.
See you soon.